Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome to a journey through the highs and lows of India's tech revolution. Today we're diving deep into the wild world of India's tech scene, a landscape that's as dynamic as it is complex. We're talking billion-dollar deals, global tech giants, and enough corruption to make your head spin. It's a tale of ambition, innovation, and the darker side of progress. Buckle up, folks, because things are about to get interesting. We're going on a roller coaster ride through the past, present, and future of India's tech industry. Picture this: India in the 1990s. A country at a crossroads, standing on the brink of a technological revolution. A country on the cusp of a technological revolution, ripe with potential and hungry for investment. The world was watching, and the opportunities seemed endless. Enter the big guns of the tech world: Microsoft, Apple, and a whole host of others, all vying for a piece of the Indian pie. They saw a market ready to explode, and they wanted in. But behind the shiny facade of progress and innovation lurked a darker side, a web of corruption that threatened to derail India's tech ambitions. Deals were made in the shadows, and not all of them were above board. This is the story of how India became a global tech powerhouse, but also a cautionary tale about the price of unchecked greed and the corrosive effects of corruption. It's a story of triumph and tragedy, of dreams realized and dreams deferred. We'll expose the underbelly of this tech boom, from shady government deals to the exploitation of regulatory loopholes. We'll look at how the system was gamed and who paid the price. Get ready to be informed, enraged, and maybe even a little bit inspired. Let's do this. We're not just telling a story, we're uncovering a reality that affects millions. This ain't your typical tech story. It's a saga of innovation clashing with tradition, of new ideas meeting old challenges. This is about more than just lines of code and silicon chips. It's about the people behind the screens, the visionaries and the workers, the dreamers and the doers. It's about power, politics, and the fight for a fair and transparent system. It's about the struggle to create a future that benefits everyone, not just the privileged few. So, grab your chai, settle in, and get ready to explore the complex and often contradictory world of India's tech invasion. It's a story that will make you think, question, and maybe even hope for a better tomorrow. To understand how we got here, we got to rewind back to 1991. It was a year of significant upheaval and transformation for India. India was facing an economic crisis of unprecedented proportions. The country was on the brink of defaulting on its loans, and the government decided it was time for a major shakeup. The crisis was so severe that India had to airlift its gold reserves to secure a loan from the International Monetary Fund. Enter economic liberalization, a set of sweeping reforms designed to open up the Indian economy to the world. These reforms aimed to dismantle the license Raj, reduce tariffs, and encourage foreign investment. The idea was to integrate India into the global economy and stimulate growth. Foreign direct investment, or FDI, became the new mantra. The government rolled out the red carpet for international companies, offering them incentives and a more business-friendly environment. This was a radical shift from the protectionist policies that had dominated India's economic landscape for decades. The tech sector, in particular, was seen as a golden goose, a potential engine for growth and job creation. The government believed that by attracting tech giants, they could transform India into a global IT hub. And guess who was at the front of the line? Yep, you guessed it, Microsoft and Apple. These tech behemoths saw immense potential in India's vast pool of skilled labor and burgeoning market. Now, don't get me wrong, liberalization wasn't all bad. It did breathe new life into the Indian economy, creating opportunities that were unimaginable just a few years prior. The GDP growth rate surged, and new industries began to flourish. It did breathe new life into the Indian economy, creating opportunities that were unimaginable just a few years prior. Cities like Bangalore and Hyderabad emerged as tech hubs, attracting talent from across the country and even abroad. But, like with most things in life, there was a catch. The rapid changes brought about by liberalization also had their downsides. The sudden influx of foreign companies, coupled with a weak regulatory framework, created a breeding ground for corruption. The regulatory bodies were ill-prepared to handle the complexities of a liberalized economy. Government officials, eager to cash in on this tech gold rush, started cutting corners and striking shady deals. Bribery and corruption became rampant, undermining the very foundation of the reforms. And that's where our story takes a turn for the worse. The promise of economic liberalization was tainted by the dark shadow of corruption, leading to numerous scandals that rocked the nation. The very reforms that were supposed to propel India into a new era of prosperity also exposed the vulnerabilities in its governance and regulatory systems. Remember that time when the Indian government basically gave away valuable radio spectrum for peanuts? Yeah, that actually happened. It's called the 2G spectrum scam, and it's a textbook example of how corruption can derail an entire sector. In 2008, the Indian government decided to auction off spectrum licenses for 2G mobile services. These licenses were like golden tickets, granting companies the right to operate in one of the world's fastest-growing mobile markets. But instead of holding a fair and transparent auction, the government decided to do things the Indian way. Licenses were awarded to crony capitalists and shady companies at throwaway prices, costing the Indian exchequer billions of dollars. The scam sent shockwaves through the country, exposing the deep-rooted rot within the system. The 2G scandal wasn't just a financial crime. It was a betrayal of public trust. It showed how easily corruption could permeate even the most promising sectors, leaving ordinary citizens to foot the bill. Section 4. Microsoft's Indian Odyssey, from software giant to cloud powerhouse. Now, let's talk about Microsoft. Bill Gates' baby had big plans for India. From the very beginning, Microsoft saw the potential in the Indian market, a land brimming with untapped opportunities and a burgeoning tech-savvy population. They wanted to conquer the Indian market, and they weren't afraid to play the game. Their strategy was meticulously crafted, focusing on both immediate gains and long-term dominance. Microsoft's strategy was two-pronged: target the burgeoning IT services sector and make inroads into the government space. They knew that by embedding themselves in these critical areas, they could create a stronghold that would be difficult to dislodge. They set up shop in India in the early 90s, offering their software at discounted prices to educational institutions and government agencies. This move was not just about immediate sales. It was about creating a generation of users who would grow up with Microsoft products. It was a classic case of win them over early, reap the benefits later. By making their software accessible to students and government workers, they ensured that Microsoft would become a household name. And boy, did it pay off. The seeds they planted in the 90s have grown into a vast network of loyal users and partners. Today, Microsoft is a dominant force in the Indian tech industry. Their influence spans across various sectors, making them an indispensable part of the Indian technological landscape. They've got a massive presence in cloud computing, enterprise software, and even gaming. Their Azure cloud platform is a favorite among Indian businesses, and their gaming consoles are a hit among the youth. But their journey hasn't been without its share of controversy. Success often comes with scrutiny, and Microsoft has had its fair share of critics. Microsoft has been accused of using its clout to influence government policies and secure lucrative contracts. These allegations have sparked debates about the ethical boundaries of corporate influence. And let's not forget about the whole anti-competitive practices thing. Accusations of monopolistic behavior have followed Microsoft for years, leading to numerous legal battles and public outcry. But hey, we'll delve into that a little later. For now, let's appreciate the incredible journey of Microsoft in India, a journey marked by ambition, strategy, and a relentless drive to succeed. Section 5. Apple in India. A long time coming, but at what cost? Apple's entry into India was a lot like their iPhones, sleek, stylish, and with a hefty price tag. Unlike Microsoft, who focused on affordability, Apple went straight for the premium segment. They wanted to capture the hearts and wallets of India's growing middle class. But there was one problem. iPhones were expensive, like really expensive. To make matters worse, Apple had to navigate India's complex import regulations, which made their products even more pricey. So, what did Apple do? They started lobbying. Hard. They wanted the Indian government to ease import restrictions and offer them tax breaks. And guess what? They got what they wanted. Apple's aggressive lobbying efforts have raised eyebrows, with many accusing them of trying to buy their way into the Indian market. But hey, that's the price of doing business in India, right? Or is it?